your majesties, distinguished guests, dear friends and citizens, today I stand before you with a feeling that I cannot fully describe in words, the feeling of having fallen unexpectedly for a stranger. In that word, stranger, lies every beginning we ever face, the new idea, the fresh promise, the unknown path that demands courage. From the earliest days, I have learned that duty is not simply a tradition inherited, but something alive, something awakened when we meet the unfamiliar, the person we did not yet know, the challenge we did not yet understand. And so today I reflect, what happens when a stranger becomes a companion, when what once was unknown becomes a partner on the journey of service? My sister Sophia and I, from our shared childhood to the responsibilities we now embrace, have often looked to each other. We discovered that in the face of new faces, new tasks or new places, it is our bond that gives us strength. To you, Sophia, I say, thank you for being both mirror and anchor, for showing me that even the greatest change is less daunting if one does not walk it alone. For me, Spain means not just a land or a title, but a promise of hope. It is the promise that strangers in the sense of the unfamiliar can become neighbors of trust, partners of progress, citizens with shared dreams. And as I assume this commitment, I ask you for your confidence, that we may together walk into new horizons, built on respect, compassion, and responsibility. There are days yet to come, filled with duties we may not yet see. There are people we have not yet met, ideas we have not yet formed, paths we have not yet dared to tread. Let us not fear the stranger, the unknown, but welcome it. Turn it into dialogue, into bridge, into unity. In closing, I promise this, I will serve with a heart open to the unfamiliar, a mind attentive to the voices of youth, and a spirit prepared for the day when the stranger becomes friend, the challenge becomes purpose, and the future becomes our own. I stand before you, humbled and aware, recognizing that sometimes the most profound growth in our lives does not come from what we already know, but from the moment we engage with the unknown, the face we do not yet recognize, the idea that appears unfamiliar. It is in those unexpected connections, those meetings with what once felt like a stranger, where duty finds fresh meaning, where purpose awakens, and where we ourselves are quietly transformed. From the earliest age I have understood that service is not simply a title or a ceremony. It is a readiness of spirit, a willingness to step into new ground, to greet the unfamiliar not with hesitation, but with openness. And so, when a stranger appears, be it a person from a different place or a perspective we have not met, it is not a threat to our world, you but a bridge to our growth. I recall how, in my own journey, I encountered people whose lives I had not shared, whose stories I had not yet heard, students different from me, young people with hopes I scarcely understood at first. It would have been easy to remain in the familiar, in the environment I had always known, but duty asked something more. It asked that I turn, that I listen, that I embrace difference. And in doing so, I discovered something powerful, that our common commitment, our joint work, is what lifts us all, not just the familiar circle, but those we have yet to meet. In meeting another truly meeting, we find a reflection of our own responsibility. Because duty is not served in isolation, it is made real when we reach beyond ourselves, when we partner with someone whose path we did not walk, whose struggle we did not share. To grow in duty is to grow in connection, to realize that the stranger is not an interruption of our purpose, but an awakening of it. There is a certain humility in this pursuit. We do not approach as saviors, but as companions. We approach with the awareness that we have much to learn, that our own vantage is limited. When I speak of duty and growth through unexpected connections, I mean the readiness to exchange comfort for challenge, certainty for curiosity. I mean that when we extend our hand to someone we hardly know, we open ourselves to being changed, deepened, refined. My sister and I have walked many paths side by side, yet even in that shared journey, We have discovered how our lives are expanded when we engage with those whose stories are far removed from our own. Our bonds with each other are strengthened by the company we keep beyond ourselves, friends, companions, young people whose voices had not been invited, communities whose hopes had not yet been heard. In these connections, the stranger becomes a partner. In this transformation, duty becomes alive. It is essential to recognize that growth is never comfortable. The stranger may ask questions we cannot answer. The connection may demand sacrifice, of time, of attention, of comfort. And yet, it is in that very sacrifice that duty finds its power, because it is easy to serve those who mirror us. It is far greater to serve those who surprise us, who challenge our assumptions, whose presence invites us into a larger world. And so I ask, when we are presented with someone unfamiliar, will we turn away or will we step forward? Will we hold fast to what we already know, or will we choose to learn? Will we accept what is comfortable, or will we welcome the possibility that our purpose calls us to something more? When we do choose to engage, we build something that lasts. A generation formed not simply by inherited roles or titles, but by the lived experience of reaching beyond. A community strengthened by the ties we forge with those whose lives run parallel to ours rather than overlapping. A country renewed by the commitment of young people who believe that no one is truly strange, only as yet unknown, and that every unknown offers both a gift and a responsibility. In this commitment lies the future. Not a future shaped solely by the familiar, but by the embrace of the new. Not defined only by our titles or our heritage, but by our willingness to walk alongside others. By our decision to turn the stranger into neighbor, the other into collaborator, the unknown into opportunity. I pledge to you not as one who knows it all, but as one who will continually learn that I shall walk this path. I shall serve with readiness to meet the unfamiliar, to listen before acting, to connect before presuming. I shall preserve the humility that this duty demands and the hope that such growth inspires. In doing so, I invite you all to join. Let us build together a future where every connection, however unexpected, is recognized and honored, where every person, however distant at first glance, is seen as part of our shared journey, where duty is not just spoken but lived in the moment when we reach across, when we stand beside. When we say, "I see you," we walk together. In such moments we grow, and our growth becomes service. Thank you. I grew up alongside you, my dear sister, side by side through laughter, through the questions and the quiet moments, through the journey from our childhood into this place of greater purpose. And as I reflect today on the road we share, I feel deeply grateful for the bond that has carried us here, one not chosen by duty alone, but shaped by those early mornings of hope, the soft evenings of reflection, and the ever-present feeling that we are never exactly alone in this path. From our earliest memories, wandering, learning, sometimes stumbling, our steps have echoed together. You saw the same world I did, and yet you looked at it differently. You approached our family, our traditions, our challenges, with the curiosity that inspired me. This shared journey, our sisterhood, has taught me something profound, that when two hearts walk in tandem, the road ahead becomes not only manageable, but alive with possibility. I recall how many times we would sit together, dreaming of what the future might hold. In your company, I discovered that service is not solitary. It is strengthened by another's presence, by that quiet glance of encouragement, by the knowing that someone beside you believes in you as much as you believe in your own promise. And I hope you have felt in me the same unwavering presence. For in this journey we share, our connection has become a source of strength, a mirror of resilience. In the moments of ceremony, of public duty, of new responsibility, I have looked at you and found calm. Knowing that your presence, Your sincerity, your kindness grounds me. In the private hours when I have questioned myself, you have reminded me gently that to lead is not to leave behind, but to carry with one the heritage of those who walk with you. Our heritage, our home, our values, they remain because we have held them together. Sisterhood is not simply about being born together. It is about walking forward together when the headings change, when the path becomes steeper and the world asks more of us. Together we have learned that progress is shaped not by titles, but by hearts, not by recognition, but by shared resolve, not by individual victories, but by collective purpose. And in you I have found that resolve, that heart, that purpose renewed. There were days when the lights seemed too bright, the expectations too heavy, the world too vast. In those days your hand, whether visible or invisible, remained steady. You reminded me that beyond the office, beyond the speeches, beyond the tasks, there is a sister who knows the unspoken parts, the doubts, the dreams, the quiet longing just to be real, and for that I am forever grateful. Together we've celebrated what our nation holds dear, culture, service, responsibility, and we've also shared the simpler truths, the joy of a conversation at dusk, the comfort of a familiar voice, the laughter that springs unexpectedly. These small moments, I believe, are the heart of our shared journey. They are the thread that holds even the grandest responsibilities in place. In embracing this role, we did not step alone. You have walked this with me. You have looked ahead when I looked behind. You have spoken when I hesitated, and you have listened when I needed to be heard. That reciprocity, that intentional being with each other, is what makes this shared journey not only bearable, but joyful and full of hope. I want you to know that I cherish the path we walk, not because of where it leads, though that matters, but because of whom I walk it with. I cherish our conversations, our memories, our quiet understanding. I cherish the way your presence has shaped my purpose, and how, through your example, I have been encouraged to shape my own. As we continue onward, with new responsibilities ahead, I promise to carry you with me, not behind me, not ahead of me, but right there beside me. I promise to be present in the moments we share and mindful of the moments we will create. I promise to honor our bond, to listen to your voice, to value your perspective, and to hold firm to the fact that no matter the stage, no matter the role, what matters most is that when the call to serve is sounded, we answer together. Because I believe, deeply, that the future we envision will be built not by a solitary voice, but by the chorus of many, starting with the harmony we create together. It begins in trust, in mutual respect, in the shared journey of two sisters committed to something greater than ourselves and to each other. Thank you for being my sister, my companion on this journey. And thank you to everyone listening. Believe in the power of shared paths, of voices that walk side by side, and of commitments that are strengthened when we stand together. I stand before you today with a deep sense of hope, an awareness of responsibility, and a vision of new horizons, a vision not merely of what lies ahead, but of what we can build together. Hope is not a fleeting wish. It is a compass that calls us to look beyond what is comfortable, to imagine what is possible, and to commit ourselves to the journey of realizing it. Responsibility is not a burden, but a privilege, the privilege of being entrusted with something greater than ourselves. And new horizons are not passive destinations, they are invitations to step forward, to explore, to embrace change, and to carry our shared purpose into a world that awaits our contribution. From early on, I have felt the weight and the promise that come with the role entrusted to me. But more than that, I have come to understand that this role is not just mine alone, it belongs to all of us. When I look at our young people, our communities, our professionals striving for excellence, I see in you the spark of hope. I see the willingness to raise your voices, to ask the right questions, to challenge what must be changed. That spark reminds me that hope lies in action. We cannot wait passively for change. We must be the change. We cannot simply hope for better. We must commit ourselves to create better. Responsibility often means listening where others have remained unheard, acting where others feared to act, standing firm when others may be tempted to falter. It means recognizing that our decisions, our words, our service, our solidarity matter. When we accept responsibility, we accept that our lives are intertwined with those around us. We accept that the future is not a solo venture but a collective endeavor. And so I pledge not merely to the title or the occasion, but to you, to your aspirations, your challenges, your dreams. You deserve dedication, you deserve transparency, you deserve someone who understands that the horizon they pursue must be one you recognize as your own. And so we turn together to new horizons. These horizons are not about forgetting where we come from, but about carrying that origin with us as we advance. They are about taking the lessons of our history, of community, of perseverance, of solidarity, and applying them to the emerging realities of our world. We live in times of rapid change, new technologies, new ways of connecting, new challenges of justice, sustainability, and inclusion. The horizon of tomorrow may look unfamiliar in many ways, but it is ours to shape. When we step towards it, we do so with curiosity, not fear, with confidence, not hubris, with humility, not complacency. Hope fuels the courage to move forward even when we cannot see the full path. Responsibility gives us the strength to take that step anyway. And as we walk, the horizon stretches further, not as a distant point to reach alone, but as a shared destination to create together. We must ask ourselves, what legacy do we want to leave? How will we honor those who came before us and empower those who will follow? If hope is our starting point, then let responsibility be our guide, and let the horizon be our collective aim. In this commitment, each of us has a role. It may not always be grand or visible. Sometimes it is quiet, a kind word, an inclusive gesture, a decision to learn and to listen. Sometimes it is bold, creating new opportunities, speaking out for fairness, joining forces across difference. But whether quiet or bold, each act matters, because the horizon will not be defined by one voice. It will be defined by many voices in harmony, by many hands building together. And with each step, hope grows stronger, responsibility becomes more evident, and that horizon draws nearer. I hold before me the knowledge that to serve is to embrace both the promise and the charge of our time. We cannot simply rest on past achievements. We must prepare actively for what is coming. That preparation means cultivating the skills, the ethical clarity, the empathy, and the vision that tomorrow demands. It means not turning away from discomfort, but using discomfort to propel us into growth. Because new horizons are rarely comfortable at first, they stretch us, they challenge us, but in that stretch lies our awakening. To you who are watching, I say this: let your hope be real. Let it be rooted in action, guided by responsibility, aimed at meaningful horizons. Do not wait for someone else to take the lead. Take your place. Recognize that what you do today echoes into tomorrow. Recognize that responsibility is not limited to titles. It belongs to everyone who cares for the community, for the future, for the possibility that things can be better. And so I promise I will endeavor to walk in hope, to act in responsibility, and to reach toward new horizons. I will be mindful of where we come from, mindful of where we are, and mindful of where we must go. I will listen to you, learn with you, and strive beside you. May we together build a future in which hope is not the exception but the expectation, in which responsibility is not a burden but a shared promise, in which new horizons are not distant dreams, but actual possibilities we forge together. Thank you.